All right, I'm here with Laurie Burgess. I think of all the people that I've gotten to know over the last couple of years, Laurie, you have been a blessing because you've always got a smile on your face. So I am really thankful to be with you this morning. How have you been?
Thank you. That was very kind of you. I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be here. COVID was just kind of it was a bummer not being able to be in person and teaching, and I just am super energized being back in the classroom, being able to teach again, but then being on campus and being with people is awesome. I've always looked forward to coming to Cornerstone and being, part of this community. But now I just wake up and I'm so excited to be here and get to work. And so I'm really happy to be back and be able to be back in person.
Awesome. So you do what here? Your title is what, and you get to do what with our students on campus?
Okay. So I'm in the teacher education department, and my title is division chair. So half of my position is administrative, and that's just kind of staying on top of the administrative work of the teacher ed division. But then the other part of my job is I get to teach the other half of my position. This semester I'm down to one class because it's just a big year for our department because we're going through accreditation, national accreditation. We have this site visit virtually in October. And then in the spring, we have another accreditation site visit. So I have a course release for that, but I'm teaching educational psychology. In the spring, I'll teach content area literacy that's specifically for secondary education students. And in the past, I've taught diverse populations and differentiated instruction. A lot of really fun classes.
Those are some intense names of classes. Like I like racquetball or psychology or science, but those are some intense names. So you say you have your site visit in October. So if you need a break from that site visit, you need a little breather, we can do another one of these and just have another conversation to get your mind off accreditation. Does that sound cool?
That would be awesome. It will be hard to get my mind off it, but let's go.
Well, we have 10 minutes, right? 15 minutes, get your mind off accreditation.
Yeah, that's right.
Just one little moment. Let's transition to, how long have you been at Cornerstone?
So I started in 2003 as an adjunct. I was supervising student teachers. And at the time I was still working at the Potter's House School. That's in Grand Rapids Urban School. It's a private Christian school, primarily for lower income, or it's an affordable education for all students. Mm-hmm. And so I was still there. And when I started supervising, I just absolutely loved working with college age students. And my husband and I were starting to have a family. And so the flexibility combined with being able to kind of give back, from what I had learned in the class teaching and being in the classroom, it just was such a good fit. And then in 2005, I started teaching a class. And then from there, I just kept taking on more classes. And then I was the CELT director, basically faculty development in 2009. And that's basically when I became full-time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you've got your family, one of them works in our department, which is awesome to see. Taylor. She works with Courtney, our assistant AD. She has been incredible. Talk about your family a little bit.
Yeah, so my husband and I have 3 kiddos, and Taylor's the oldest. She's a sophomore at Cornerstone this year, and last year when we dropped her off, it was super emotional, just dropping her off. And when when we're hugging to say goodbye, I'm like, all right, I'll see you tomorrow.
That's awesome.
Totally
Like, I
get to
will see you during break. I will see you
yeah.
during Thanksgiving break or whatever.
Right.
I'll see you tomorrow. Yep. Stop by my office.
That's right.
That's awesome.
So I just feel so spoiled getting to see her often, and yeah, it's just such a good fit, I think, for her. The kids, students here are so great. So love having her here and the friends that she's made, and working in, the athletic center. It's been great.
Yep.
And then we have twins, a boy and a girl, Christian and JoJo. And they are in 11th grade, and they're at Grand Rapids Christian High School. And yeah, they're super fun. They're such a good time. All three kids are a good time. But my husband works for Kent County Juvenile Court. He's a supervisor of probation officers. And so he works downtown, although he's working virtually like 3 out of 5 days.
Yeah.
Home. And then we have Big Chuck, and that is our very very large golden retriever.
Awesome.
Supposed to be like 80 pounds, and we bring him in, get in trouble every time because he's like 120, but like a wide girth. But
Big Chuck. I
awesome.
like it. I like it. Well, let's transition to a little more. I am the athletic director, so I asked everybody that interview, what is your favorite sport to watch?
Lacrosse. We don't have that here. I grew up in upstate New York. And
oh, perfect.
So that's a big sport out east. So grew up going to lacrosse games. But around here, probably soccer. My husband played, all three of my kids played, and then we always watch it with family and extended family. So I love watching soccer. I played volleyball. I coached varsity volleyball back in New York, and so I love watching volleyball too.
All right, that's good. Lacrosse is something, that's always on the table. Doctors still talk about lacrosse a lot. It's growing. West Michigan, like crazy. A lot of high schools are getting it. But to end it, I want to ask the same question to almost everybody.
Okay.
We've been through a lot the last 5 months. It's actually almost 6 months now that we've been in this thing. But we're starting to sense a little bit return to normalcy, a little bit like kind of our scheduling is coming back. Our lives are returning more to the normal, whether we like it or not, or what the normal was. But what kind of advice could you give just our campus community to kind of stick through it and hang in there to get through it, to see more normalcy continue to return?
I would, being able to be at a faith-based institution, like God's got this. Our hope is not in man or the world. It's in him. And so, to pray that we increase our faith, but we have that hope. And I think we just need to remind each other that God is in charge. God is bigger than this. And not only that, but God can bring beauty from ashes. So like when I was just bummed being home, over COVID, what are some of there are always things that God is working through these challenges. And I saw that when I was at home, and now, being back, it's like I said earlier, I'm re-energized in the classroom, and just seeing what God's doing across campus, and change is challenging. It is hard to try to reinvent things. I mean, I was telling my ed psych class that right now, what a unique time in history to go into teaching, but our students will have the opportunity to be part of that change, especially as those of us who are called into teaching. Like, what a high calling. And so we just can trust God that he's going to bring beauty out of this. And maybe the challenges and the changes will be uncomfortable. And yet I'm just confident that we're going to come to the other side and be able to see the work that God's done.
Yeah, that's great. It's good to think about it that way of like, you're in the moment. It is a battle. It is a struggle a lot of times, but what God is teaching you to come out of this moment, to come out of this season, is like a lot of people like to talk about seasons. When I talk about seasons, it's usually the basketball season, the volleyball season, the tennis, but when the season that you're in a faith standpoint, or even in a relationship or family or wherever you're at, how God's using you to get through it, and then how do you come out of it? I think that's a big thing that we can all learn on. And as Christians, we have that ability to do that with the backing of the highest of power. And as long as we keep our eyes on that and not on what our world is telling us, our man is telling us, like you said, I think that's a lot better feeling. So, yeah. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you guys do. Teacher ed. We have a lot of student athletes in teacher ed, so it's so cool to see the impact that you guys have had on them. And you guys have been great. I love to see that department coming together over the last 5 to 6 years. Has been so cool since I've been here. So keep doing it. Keep pressing on.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then we'll look forward to seeing you at some soccer matches and maybe a lacrosse match one day. You never know.
All right, let's do it.
Thanks for joining me, Laurie.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it.